All right, welcome back, everyone. I know you missed us. It's been a whole 24 hours, but we are back. And we're back, and I can honestly say better than ever. We have a phenomenal show. That was a pun. That was bad,
Yeah,
man.
that was no,
We
that's
have
all right.
a
That's all right. That was good. That was good.
we have a phenomenal show today, featuring Derik Santos, who is coaching Vitor, the Phenom Belfort, for the upcoming Triller Fight Club Legends 2. And we're just waiting for Vitor to sign on.
What's up, Derek?
Everything's good. Thank you guys for having
Nemo's
us on.
here.
Thank you. Thank
What's
Okay.
you
up,
for
Matt?
having us on.
Oh, thanks for coming on. So I wanted to ask you, Derek. So you've trained some guys in the past, couple of years now. I want to start off. Let's just say Thiago Alves, which is a UFC guy, transitioning into the boxing bare knuckle game, and you trained with him, and working with these guys. How'd you um, transition them to just focus on the boxing game instead of the MMA?
Well, with some guys, they have I don't want to call it an innate knack or ability that they were born with. To the fact that I always said guys like Vitor, even Thiago, had it not been that they went into MMA, some guys they learn that rhythm.
Yeah,
And there's a certain rhythm and a timing and a thing. And don't get me wrong, I have trained a lot of MMA fighters to use boxing well in their game, but not all those guys have that rhythm. They were very well better set uh, fighters for MMA, with all the different disciplines. Um, I just would see things that I would say, okay, well, that guy could not have been a pure boxer. You
yeah,
understand what I'm saying? As to where it's a little different with Vitor, with Thiago, and there's other guys. There's certain guys that just have there's a certain body language and certain rhythm that you acquire that I could just look at them and go, well, if they would have started, in the boxing field, with an attempt to be a professional boxer, I think they could have also done well in that field.
yeah. So an idol of yours, idol of mine, idol of Matt's. We got Oscar De La Hoya fighting your guy. I mean, this is incredible. Like, how'd you
Yeah,
get into that? That's amazing.
well, yes, I probably couldn't have fathomed, 2 weeks ago or whatever, 2 months ago. I mean, 2 months ago, that this fight was going to happen. That we were going to be sharing a ring with Oscar De La Hoya.
Yeah,
Vitor is also a legend in his field. Uh, but it happens. Just like I was, in the past, able to be in other big matches with legendary fighters such as Bernard Hopkins. And we went into this with the idea that Vitor wanted to box. He was always very good at boxing, and he wanted to. At this point in his career, there's nothing for him to prove
right.
in MMA. And MMA, you can't compare the two, but I think that you can box a little longer than you can do MMA. Just speak, in terms of injury prone, in terms of, yeah, boxing match is much longer, but there's a lot of ways to get injured in MMA when you become an athlete now that in the advancing years, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you can be smart and outbox people and protect yourself from that in boxing. So, when this came up, initially we were supposed to do an exhibition match on the Teofimo Lopez card in Miami, and then we were going to see what was going to happen from there. I told him, yeah, he came to me and said, would you coach me again? And this time we're going to do boxing. We're not, I wasn't being brought in just as a specialty coach.
Yeah,
Um, so that said, I'm very happy with his effort. It came to fruition. He actually called me. This is kind of an interesting story. and said to me, "Coach, you think we can box Oscar De La Hoya?" And I thought he was asking me more in a hypothetical sense
Yeah.
rather than an approval sense. And I said to him, "Well, yeah, I don't know if that comes to fruition, but yeah, we could box Oscar De La Hoya. He's a legend. He's gonna know still what to do, but it's a fairly even match. And when you're talking about in terms of what they were, close to age, what they are, and what they were in their fields." And so he's like, "Okay, great," and he hangs up. And I go into the gym to train the rest of the fighters. And 20 minutes later, one of my fighters goes, "Holy crap, you guys are fighting Oscar De La Hoya." And I was like, further for how do who told you that we're trying to fight Oscar De La Hoya, right? And he's like, "No, it's on ESPN. It came across Bleacher Report and it's on ESPN."
Wow. In
So
20
I'm
minutes.
like, yeah. So I'm like, okay. I was like, well, maybe it's just an idea thing. Then another fighter came to me, and my phone starts buzzing, calls and things. And I'm training. I don't pick it up during that time, but I do pick it up and call Vitor right back.
Yeah.
And I said, "Vitor, so is this happening?" And Vitor says to me, "Yeah, coach, I was calling you. If you said okay, we were gonna go forward with this. It wasn't the idea of I wasn't asking you hypothetically. I was asking you for you. If you said okay, we're going. We're doing it." And it was just simple as that. So here we are.
And you thought he was saying, "Do you think I have a chance against Oscar De La Hoya?"
Yeah, I thought as many times, in boxing and in these legend fights and things, I'm sure there are a lot of not only executives but fighters where ideas are thrown across the proverbial desk, and you're like, okay, this would be a nice matchup, that would be a nice matchup. So I thought it was more in the beginning stages of, okay, let's open dialogue with this, versus, okay, you're good, boom, we stamp it, we're going, and I'm super excited. I'm ecstatic. First of all, it's an honor to coach my guy, Vitor Belfort. It's an honor to coach him into this different field, that's what I'm an expert at, boxing. Um, and then it's an honor to face Oscar De La Hoya.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He's just here. He's backstage.
Awesome. Bring him on.
Bring him on. All right. Not to further ado.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, what's going on?
There he is. How you doing?
Sorry for my delay. I was, you know how it is. I was doing all these tests, and you know how unfortunately we are taking so long. People are taking so long today in these days to do something so simple.
Yeah, I hear you. So listen, we were just speaking with Derik about how did this fight come about? Whose idea was the fight between you and Oscar De La Hoya?
I think my idea was was to kind of cross promoting, these amazing two sports, boxing and MMA. It's been and boxing is being one of my martial arts that I brought into the sport. I think I was the first guy who really brought in the hands to the sports. And I was talking to Derik. I said we need to put, merge these two sports. And I know some fights been done before, but to grab the neck and grab the hands and do more like boxers. They want to fight that way. So I think it's Triller has been doing a phenomenal job of putting, some cool fights, and this is a legendary fight. This is gonna be a fight to go for the books, and I can't wait.
Absolutely, I think this is the biggest matchup that I've seen that I'm looking forward to. You are a bona fide legend in the sport of MMA. And Oscar De La Hoya is definitely on a lot of people's top 10 list of best ever boxer, you know. And you've been around in the UFC since practically the beginning, around 1995, 96, right?
Yes, 1996. I feel like I'm like I feel like I'm the guy. Like I call what I did for MMA. I think Oscar did for boxing. We opened the Red Sea. You know, I think that's what he did. He not just become a great boxer, a great champion, but Oscar was kind of the first fighter become promoter. And as you know, the promoter side of boxing is where athletes are having a tendency to literally not just understanding that this is a sport, but also it's a promotion. So I take my hats off to Oscar to doing that, and I'm excited, man. I'm excited to be able to collide with him, and me and Coach Derik, we've been preparing for this moment, and I was looking for opponents, and I think could not ask for a better opponent with a better history. With I call
Absolutely.
him one of the best boxers of all times, no doubt about it.
Right. So where do you like rank this fight against Oscar De La Hoya compared to you fought all the greats in the UFC in multiple weight classes? Where would you rank this fight in terms of importance to your legacy as a fighter?
One, I rank this number one.
Wow.
And remember, man, the most important thing in my life, in your life, in anybody's life is what you're going through right now. There is nothing more important than what you're doing next. Because yesterday is a cancel check, tomorrow is a promissory note, and today is cash on hand.
There you go. Amen.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. In terms of your fights in the UFC, which ones are the most memorable to you in terms of either advancing your career or actually just getting the sport known at the time when it first started, giving it popularity? Because I think you were a part of that.
Yeah, the first one, no doubt, in 1996, when I had to fight twice to become champion of UFC. I became the youngest champion ever when I was 19 years old. I was just a baby. And now I see how crazy that was. I was with 16 years old. I convinced my dad and my mom in the third world country of Brazil, middle class dad, very humble family. I convinced my mom and my dad that I will become a champion when I was 16 years old, world champion. And they let me drop eighth grade to come to America to chase my dream. And I remember when I stepped onto that plane, I said, I'm not going to come back without being a world champion. And that's what's happened. Later on in life, I went back to Brazil. I established my sport in Brazil. Brazil became one of the largest exporter and the largest platform and as a country to be able to sustain such a tremendous business of MMA. And Brazil was the number one in the world, and now, of course, America is beating Brazil because America is so powerful consumers. But Brazil was the carrier of everything started, and I'm so glad to be back. I'm an American now. I live here for many years, but America gave me the possibilities to literally become someone in life. A kid who didn't have anything, and now everything that I earned was through hard work and a lot of determination. And I'm so glad to be with Coach Derek, and we go into that season of great fights about to come to collide. This is just the first of many on that realm. And my dream, as you guys know, is to merge the two sport into one. Entertaining, but today we are the martial one, and and I'm not saying that with my skills in the MMA industry with boxing, and I mean say proudly because I have great coaches, but I'm saying proudly because I've been doing this for many years. And boxing is not something that you would coach. Been working with Coach Derik, helped me a lot to understand that rhythm. It's almost like a cadence, you be in a rhythm, you understand the rhythm of the fight. Sometimes it's click, click, click. Sometimes ba 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 ba, and it's a totally different sport. I know I'm going to his a win for us, no doubt, in 9/11, and we're going to shock the world.
All right, all right. I got to just bring this up. Back in the early UFC days, you beat a guy named Tank Abbott, and when Tank Abbott came on the scene, I was not a fan of his because I saw, the skill of the Gracies, obviously, and all the other martial artists that were fighting it. And then along comes Tank Abbott, who's a street fighter, and he was beating everyone. And then you came along and beat him, and that was a good moment, I think, for the UFC and for martial arts in general, to stop Tank Abbott.
Yeah. He's driving right now, so he's probably in a bad zone. But he's going to call back in.
Okay.
When Matt, when you mentioned the people he's fought, I mean, like Dan Henderson, Luke Rockhold. I mean, the list: Alistair Overeem, Tito Ortiz. I mean, the names just go on and on.
Yeah.
He's fought everybody in the UFC who's anybody. And every single one of his fights could have been a main event if it wasn't a main event.
Sure, he had a lot of them.
And Tito Ortiz, a guy that he fought in the UFC, is fighting on the undercard as well.
And so is Anderson.
Yeah, against Anderson Silva. So, he was just saying, here he is again. He was just saying something about,
You getting him on?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. He's back.
Vitor, we lost you though, but I was talking about your fight against Tank Abbott and how that was a big moment in the UFC because he was coming along representing a street fighter, when you had all these other guys that were more skilled martial artists and all that. And Tank Abbott was beating all the heavyweights, and then you came around and you beat him, and I don't think he had much of a career after that. So that's one thing that I remember from those days.
He was the biggest asshole ever. I don't know if you guys know, where we had a big fight after the fight. They delivered the check. They had a huge fight. So he was crazy. He was more like a he represent the trash talking, but not the way it is today. It was very actually Tito Ortiz he's one of his guys. I remember Tito Ortiz he was a little kid, on his crowd, on the crew, and I was going to the restroom and say, man, I think I'm going to become a UFC fighter. And Tito Ortiz was just a kid. And I said, yeah, I was a champion. And he looked at me and said, man, you're great. So he was a wrestler going under the rings of Tank Abbott. But thank God Tito Ortiz took off and created his own legacy, because Tank Abbott represented that, beating everyone on the street. He was like a street fighter guy, no respect. It was a good lesson. I put it to him. I think that was a good stamp. And no doubt about it, it was one of the fight that this guy, like, everybody hate that guy.
Yeah, nobody liked him. Nobody wanted to see him succeed, and it was because of the way he acted, So
He was
that's
100%.
Yeah. Anderson Silva's on the undercard. All right, so you had a famous fight with Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
Would you want to maybe in the future have a boxing match against Anderson?
That would be a good one. That would be a legendary one, no doubt about it. I'm looking for fights that would make me want to go train. I'm not looking there, this is something that is. I'm driven by the passion. And I mean, some people are driven just for money. I'm driven for passion. You give me something that I'm passionate about, I'm going to give you 100% of my time. And Coach Derik, I say, Coach, I'm gonna give you 100% of my time. I'm locked in. Like I said, my commitment is not just with me, it's with the people that are around me. You know, people that are investing in me. You know, I have a great coaches. You know, Coach Troy. You know, Coach Derik. I have Junior. I have my wife, my kids. I have my fans. You know, I mean, for me, it's everything. It's not just going out there and getting a paycheck. No, for me, it's the process. You know,
Yeah.
the fight is approaching, but we enjoying the process.
Yeah, I can attest to that. When this all came about, I understand that Vitor, is so much more than a fighter. He's a brand. He's a businessman. He dabbles in humanitarian. He has humanitarian causes, political causes, all kinds of things. And one of the things that we talked about when he came, he says, "Coach, I'm going to give you focus, and I'm going to come and train every day, and I'm going to give you my all." And I got to tell you something. I was not only impressed, but I'm proud of him that he was able to do that because, being a man of many different facets in business, and he's an entrepreneur, a lot of things are going on in his life. Like he said, he doesn't need, okay, paychecks are nice, but he doesn't need the paycheck. He cemented his legacy. He's earned his money, and it was so nice you could hear that from a lot of fighters, but he generally, you know, delegated or put whatever he had to do on pause to somebody else, and he's given me his all. I'm very proud of him. Again, it'd be real easy for him to just cruise and sort of kind of like, half-ass something, and he's really taking it serious. And, as a coach, I can't ask for anything else. You know what I mean? Win or lose, whatever happens in a fight, as a coach, you got to start with not only the chemistry, but you got to start with the effort and the consistency, and of that is born successes as you go along. And he's definitely done everything I've asked him to do, and I'm very proud of that.
Excellent. And who have you been sparring with down there at the Boca
We,
Power?
we we've had all kinds of different sparring partners. Obviously, speed. A lot of young bucks. A lot of young guys that have come in with speed. With boxers. We've had a couple. Heavier guys too for the strength, but it's more the speed, more the boxers, and Vitor has done. I can honestly say even better than I expected. I expected him to do well. I keep saying this over and over again to everybody who listens. People don't understand that he understands rhythm. Remember, I told you if he would have chosen to have been a boxer instead of an MMA fighter from when he was young, he could have boxed very well. And even when he's come in with me, because now, of course, when you're doing a different discipline, certain things are going to be a little off. His processing is like this. He picks up what I tell him about rhythm, what I tell him about, I want the hands, I want this type of cadence. Not everybody can do that, but yeah. I'm guessing that's what made him the athlete that he was in the MMA. And he's been able to pick this up. And so with that, I expected good, and I've gotten better than what I expected. And I'm very happy with that.
Very nice.
I've gotten much better than I expected. Put it that way, and I'm very happy with that.
Excellent. And Vitor, how does Coach Derik rank in there with all the coaches that you must have worked with over your career?
Coach Derik is ranked number one, man. And I'm telling you, the one thing that I love about Coach Derik, he's the same guy. He's the same guy with everyone. Yeah. And I'm being honest with you, man. It's something that really annoyed me today. Is like everybody's an expert. Everybody becomes coaches. Everybody becomes master. And I ask people, how old are you? I'm 20 plus years old, but I'm a great coach. I say, man, you're in your diapers. Diapers. You don't know anything. So, and the Derek, he has so much experience, but he acts like he's still learning. And not just that, the way he understands, the way he explain, and the way so he meets you where you are. That's the beauty of a coach. He meets where you are, but he advances you to point B, and then point C, and then point. So that's what's a coach. And I say I the three people that I admire the most in my life. It's first, number one. It's the parents. Real parents that are in with their kids. They are living for their kids. Second of all is coaches and teachers. And when I say coaches and teachers, are those that they do for the passion about it. They love to explain math, make math interest, make English or history, make it interest for anyone. And one thing I see, Coach Derik, he's at the gym. He meets a guy who doesn't have any money, a fighter with no money, and he give his 100% of his attention. And then he goes and he has one of the superstar from Hollywood. He gives the same attention. So, and then comes a top fighter. He gives the same attention. So, and I call this the best people in the world. They are everybody's president for Coach Derik, and I admire this a lot. And we have a very good chemistry, and it's almost like he understands just by my behavior, my energy. He knows when I'm there. He knows when I'm not there. So not a lot of coaches can fluctuate and understand you from the inside out, not the outside in. Everybody wants the pictures, the film, the camera, the success. But what we've been putting a lot of years together is like we're building that relationship right now going to the camera. It's easier. So we work from the inside out, not outside in, if you know what I mean.
Amen. Thank you, Peter.
Yeah.
And
So
in terms of strategy against Oscar De La Hoya, what can you give away any of your not so secret secrets, or what are you working on specifically against Oscar De La Hoya? I mean, there's certainly enough tape of him that you can study. And
All I can tell you is that the Vitor Belfort you're going to see in the ring, you're going to go, whoa, and you're going to say, this guy can box. Outside of that, I'm not going to release any of the strategy, but I can guarantee you that I know a lot of people out there are like, oh, Oscar De La Hoya, this is great. Oh, it's in LA, it's a Staples Center, da da da. I understand the statue in front of there. And I have a lot of respect for Oscar, even for Golden Boy, because I've worked, I have had fighters on their cars, and their staff has always treated me very well and whatnot. I'm going to put it in terms that we're going to crash the party a little bit. Not to make a mess, but we're going to steal the show. You understand what I'm saying? We're there to crash the wedding and be like, who are these guys? And they're gonna be like, man, they're on the dance floor. Look at them. They're out there looking great. And so, I said jokingly before, I like to go sometimes into fights and flip people's picnic table over. They have a set idea already of, oh, this is going to be easy for me. I'm not going to let that happen. I'm not going to let it be easy. People said to me, well, did you go and look at Oscar De La Hoya? Of course I did. I'm a detail-oriented coach. I'm not walking in there like Sleepy Fred and be like, all right, we already know. We already know that he was a great champion. Was there? No, man. You dot your I's and you cross your T's, and you say your prayers and you put in your effort and your work, and here we go.
We got a bunch of questions for Vitor from our listeners. First question, I don't know if you can see it, but where do you see yourself in 2 years from now? And in your opinion, when's the right time to hang up the gloves?
You never hang up the gloves. You just change your your ring or your octagon or whatever. No one hang up the glove. And I mean, whenever you hang out the glove, that means you're dead. I would never hang out my glove. My fight, it's just whatever's in front of me. I have a lot of things that I'm fighting for. And that's the question asked me, what are you fighting for? Everybody's a boxer. Everybody has to get knocked down and come back up. So boxing is just part of my life. It's always been part of my life. So that is, I see myself in 2 years. We're doing a lot of great fights. So I cannot tell you the amount of great opponents we're about to face it in the future. One of them is Holyfield.
The real deal.
Yes, is amazing. Can't wait.
Wow.
Not just fighting, combat, but they're putting music together. So
and then another question we have from another listener. Do you think you'll be able to knock out De La Hoya early on?
Yeah. We got our 8 rounds, so we take one out at a time. There is no second round with Vitor Belfort. Everything can finish in the first one, or we can finish in the 8th too.
We're prepared for both. We're prepared for both. Trust me.
Yeah, and what's great about this is that when I first read about it, about Vitor fighting De La Hoya, I read something that it was going to be amateur, where there's not going to be declared a winner. And then how did that change into a pro fight declaring a winner?
I don't do.
You don't do the amateur stuff. Yeah.
I don't do this kind.
We didn't have interest in that.
This feeling.
Yeah. So it is going to be a professional fight, and it could be declared a winner. We saw a Mike Tyson fight versus Roy Jones Jr. And it was an exhibition, and since there wasn't a winner, did we see the best of both of those guys? I didn't think so.
No, and that situation, like go ahead, Vitor.
Yeah.
Vitor froze a little bit, but I think what he's trying to say is that if he trains so hard for this, he's not training just for a sparring match. He's not training just for we go out there and play.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So why not make it a real fight? What's the point?
Yeah. And he's making his boxing debut.
No. Vitor actually had a boxing match before. He won one. Yeah.
Oh, so he won one.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is his second fight.
Yes.
All right.
And I take respect for.
Yeah, he's freezing up again.
We're having a little problem, but Vitor takes everything seriously, man. And like I said, he, I know what he was gonna say. What's the point of not making it a real match?
Yeah.
And so that's he trains so hard for it. He's been so dedicated to it. Let's make it count. You know what I mean? Let's make it exciting. Right. You alluded, a lot of people. It was great to see Mike Tyson and Roy Jones in the ring. The balloon was deflated though a little bit just by the fact that there wasn't like a declared winner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Regardless, I mean those guys are two legends regardless. But the fact that there wasn't a declared winner between Mike Tyson and Roy Jones, it didn't matter who won. But the fact that you went into that fight already knowing that there wasn't going to be a declared winner between the two just kind of deflated the balloon a little bit. We're not interested in that. Vitor's not interested in that. We're going to go out there to win.
Yeah. What do you got? We got 10-ounce gloves in this fight?
10-ounce gloves.
Yeah.
Nice. And you've always been in better shape, Vitor. Your last fight was in for the UFC was in what, like 2018 or something like that, and De La Hoya's been out for a lot longer than that, and he seems like he had a lot more ground to cover in terms of getting back into shape than you did. That's for sure.
Hey, I take everything. Everything's in my favor, man. I don't see nothing against me. I see a problem as a solution. I see a problem as an opportunity. So every time you put a problem in my life, I see as a solution. Every problem, the solution of the problems inside the problem, never outside of the problem. That's why people think, that's how you treat virus. The healing of the virus inside the virus. So you have to understand that.
Yeah, one thing I give Vitor credit is to he lives a lifestyle. You know, he's not out there like he didn't get away from the MMA and just sit and eat pizza all day long and kick his feet up and be like, all right, well, I'm not going to be a healthy individual in life. It's part, it's part of his whole lifestyle. You know, he's a God fearing man. You know, he's a man who likes positivity, energy, who obviously, he's got his brand, but he also, likes to help where he can, outwardly in his life, and but he wants to remain healthy. Like this man's entire family is like an elite, like, and I know this is funny, but like the entire family is like elite athletes. His wife Joanna, phenomenal shape and athlete. His children, phenomenal athletes. Not only intelligent, but they are phenomenal athletes. Like this is, God bless Vita and Joanna. They're doing something right. They're doing something right in their family. Their family, their kids are well mannered. They're well educated. And again, they're phenomenal athletes. Those genes were passed on, and it's amazing. I'm not talking about, oh, they're kind of good. I'm talking about they are top level.
Yeah.
Gymnastics, volleyball, football. Don't be surprised that you see, David Belfort be, I would guess, probably the first Brazilian Division One starting quarterback. I mean, don't be
No.
surprised. It's I'm sure they are very proud of that, and from the outside, for me as a person from the outside looking in, I'm like, wow, you know, those apples definitely are not falling far from the tree. Those are like legit,
Is it you got some Greek blood in you, Vitor?
You're talking about the mythical God. I don't know.
I got the blood of Jesus.
There
Yeah.
you
I
go.
got the blood of Jesus, the Holy Spirit flowing all over my body. And that blood, man, I'm telling you, whatever you touch, it's bring the impartation and bring life. Whatever Jesus touched, life happened. Whatever I touch, life, I transfer life. I transfer success. I believe that everything I do, it has that impartation, because I do it from my heart. And like I'm talking to you right now, my daughter is playing varsity volleyball. She's 13 years old. She's playing the high level. She's not the best between the five the best outside hitters in the USA right now. My son, the number one quarterback in in the nation right now. So we have like a tons of the youngest ones. She's a phenomenal gymnast, the number one gymnast in the East Coast on her level. And the reason why they are the number one is it's not just they are the number one. They think like the number one. Like I said, you're never gonna be number one if you don't think like. And when I say think like, it's not just one. Oh, I'm gonna train and I'm no. It's in everything. In the way you do your study or your homework, the way you behave yourself, the way you treat others with respect. Because one thing I cannot stand is kids they don't have good behavior, and it's not their fault. It's just parent.
Yeah.
So I tell
Yeah,
my kids everywhere you go, you represent me and your mom's kid. And you know what I'm saying? We live in a generation around they don't know the word respect anymore. It's very sad.
I can attest to that too. As them as parents, they're very present in everything. In the past, I can tell you that there's been plenty of times where, like even when he was just doing maintenance training, hey coach, I have to go to my kid's football game. Hey, coach, I had to go to my kid's traveling volleyball game. Hey, coach, my kid's doing a gym. They're there.
Yeah.
They're there. Even the dog. Let me tell you, Vitor Belfort, a Belgian Melody. Even the dog is a well trained star. The dog, even the dog there is an athlete. I don't know. You've seen the dog actually running on our treadmill at the gym. The dog is an athlete. The dog listens. The dog is very well trained. The nicest dog at the same time that if commanded, that dog would tear you apart in 2 seconds. And it amazing. Like I said, they hey, I find it. I thinking about it now. I find it funny, but all the way from the parents to the kids to the dog, even the mascot is a high level athlete.
Nice, very nice. Very nice. So, you guys have any parting words? Anything you want to say about the Triller card, or that before we break for the evening?
Well,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Peter. Go ahead, Peter. Go ahead.
What I'd like to say, are you guys there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Hello, hello. One of the things that I love, what we did here today, is like, it's so hard for me to explain how grateful I am for the things in my life. And I mean,
No,
Yeah.
I think we lost him for a second, but
Yeah.
he's very grateful for these opportunities. We'd like to thank
you guys
Triller.
there?
Yeah,
You
go
guys
ahead,
there?
Peter.
Yeah. So you guys give me the opportunity. This is an opportunity for me to have access to people that I may never have. So I don't take for granted anything. Everything that I have the responsibility of doing something with that. You guys gave me the responsibility to be able to talk and communicate, not just with between us, but this is gonna be forever. This content is gonna be forever. I
Yeah.
want to encourage people to never give up on their dreams. And if you have something at your hand right now, whatever it is, doesn't need to be too important, too mega. People think, oh, I'm only going to be responsible when I have this much, or I'm only going to be this when I have that much. Whatever is at your hand, that's your duty to do it. Do your best. And I think the problem with people, they always think, when I have that much money, when I have that much house, when I have that much this, when I have this, I'm going to do it the best. No. If you're faithful in the little, you'll be faithful on much. If you do a little a lot, not a lot little, you are successful. Whatever it is, you don't need to. I don't judge people how much money, how successful they are. I judge people how much effort they do in their task. So I have so much admiration for Coach Derik, for what you guys are doing, for what you guys are pursuing. And we all winners, man. And I'm saying 9/11 is going to be a day of competition. We're going to bring it. We know we are already victorious because we are not playing around. We are doing our best in the gym. And I just want to thank you guys for this opportunity and encourage everyone to go and fight for your dream. Never give up.
Well, thanks for coming on, man. It's our
Thank you
pleasure
so
having
much.
you. And after the fight, we'll have to get together again. Maybe we'll bring the cameras down to the gym or something. We'll get rid of all these sound issues and all that, and we'll catch up with you then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Vitor, for all the fans watching, what last words for De La Hoya if he's watching right now? What do you have to say to him?
We are coming. We're going to melt in the gold and make a gold necklace. Xana's going to have a gold necklace.
There's Zenya. I'd like to say to you guys, thank you for having us on. I'd like to thank, Lloyd and Banner Sports, which is Vitor's management company, for doing what they needed to do for this fight. I'd obviously like to thank Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy. I'd like to thank Vitor for having the confidence to allow me to guide him. I say that because, the fighter has to believe in you as a trainer. If he doesn't believe in you, you guys are just wasting your time. you know, and he's a megastar, and he's allowing me to guide him. So his ability to be able to use his tools. I also like to thank my partners in the gym that we worked out of, Boca Pal. I've been there for many years, as some people have known. Um, I had to expand, and there's going to be a new facility coming, but I will continue my association. We'll continue with Boca Pal. My support of Boca Pal will continue. I'll still be going there. Just, you know, not in the same amount as before, but it's been many wonderful years. I've been associated with them, and I like to thank them. And of course, you know, you guys, the Fighting News, all the fighters that helped Vitor in this camp. You cannot do anything without other fighters being supportive and helping, and the sparring partners, and them even doing, you know, what you need to get done, you know, all the little stuff. So everybody who's helped along the way, you know, Junior Sales, you know, he's always there for us. You know, he's always been there for Vitor, and you know, I appreciate him and his time. So thank you very much, everybody, and all the fans that support Team Belfort and DS Boxing. We're gonna go out there and we're gonna do the best to get this victory. Thank you so much.
Let's go.
Nice. All right. See you after the fight, man. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Take care.
Vitor. Thanks, Derik.
Okay.
Good to
Take
see
it
you
easy,
guys.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So, Matt.
Yeah, look, before you go on, you know, the one thing that the thing about the Boca Pal is, you know, you got kids in there that are going to learn boxing for free, really. They don't really charge these kids. They're kids from the neighborhood that want to learn, and then they're next to guys like Vitor Belfort, and Chris Algieri, and Sullivan Barrera, and all the other guys that train with Derik.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing, man. You know, we'll talk to him another time about the new place he's opening up, you know. But I can't see him leaving the Boca Pal completely.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great place to get people, you know, off the streets and into a gym, you know, and get them, you know, doing these kind of activities. Boxing is a great way to, you know, get your frustrations out for sure. And you know, Derik, we know Derik quite some time, and he's doing a great job over there. And you know, I see him with these fighters that he's trains, and you know, he really cares. You know what I'm saying? It's not he's not in it for the money. He's not in it to get rich. He's in it because he loves boxing, which, you know, another thing that I admire about Derik so much.
Right, and the fighters seek him out. You know, he's not out there recruiting, or there's not a lot of money, you know, behind him like there are in some of the other gyms that, you know. So that's it's a great thing, and he's trained a lot of great fighters. So and there's a lot of up and comers in that gym too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you know, I can't wait to see Trap's next fight. The kid Josniel just started working with them. There's a whole bunch of them, and I saw what's his name was back in there, Rambo Russo, the one who had all those good fights with Kid Gotti in the amateurs.
Yeah.
So now he's back to training down here. He'd moved away for a while. Now he's back. So you know, we should go down there and you know, and get some footage, get some interviews in with these guys, see what's going on.
Yeah, for sure. You know, that's DS Boxing, Derik Santos Boxing, Boca PAL. I want to thank Vitor Belfort for coming on. And, you know, he was saying something, you know, that was pretty cool, that, you know, he enjoyed the avenue of the Fighting News to get to people that may not be fans of MMA, but are boxing fans that watch our show. And, you know, he reaches out to them, the boxing world. And, you know, after this September 11th card, all the boxing world's going to know his name.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's been around for so long. He's in the MMA world. He's a household name. I mean, he's you know, He's fought everyone, and he's just he's Vitor Belfort, man.
Yeah.
He was, I don't know if you remember when he first came out, though. He was trained by the Gracies, and he used their last name. He was, and I think they also, if I remember right, they called him Victor Gracie. They didn't call him Vitor. I guess that's like, maybe it didn't sound American, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure they were calling him Victor Gracie in his first couple of fights.
Yeah. So so that's going to be a great card. De La Hoya. It's at the Staples Center, Los Angeles, September 11th. We have another event on that September 11th.
Yes.
BYB 7, where we have another guest.
That was the night before.
What's that?
That was the night before, right? The 10th. BYB? Double check that. I think it's the 10th. Because...
No, it's 11th, September 11th.
It's the 11th, right. Okay.
Yeah. It's September 11th. And we have another guest coming on later tonight at 8 o'clock. We have Renee White Boy Hialeah Champ Rodriguez coming on the show. He was the main event at the last event for BYB 6, and now he's the main event for 7. So this guy's just like the main event man. I'm gonna start calling him instead of those other 2 nicknames. And he's coming on later tonight. He's going to talk about BYB and what he's going to do against Jomi, who he interviewed last night. And I'm really enjoying these kind of fights, Matt. I don't know why. I think it's because it's the only boxing events that my son actually talks about is when like he doesn't know 2 regular boxers, but he knows the other guys like Jake Paul and the TikTokers, and he knows those guys.
Yeah.
Which is like bringing my young son into the boxing game, which is pretty cool.
Right. Well, they're definitely getting more eyes on the sport, and hopefully, like when they watch a card like Jake Paul's last card, and they see the skill there, they see the skill of Amanda Serrano or Baranchik, even though the guy that he fought, that Montana Love, watch that guy's career, or Dubois, the heavyweight, see where those guys go.
Yeah.
So that was a good show. And, I was, like Jake Paul said, he was retiring from boxing. He took a hard shot to the head. I don't know how many more he wants to take of those, but I think he's got a future as a promoter.
And then the next day, Matt, he said, "I'm back."
I know. Then he said he's back because he wants to fight. But he brought Amanda Serrano on the card because he lives out in Puerto Rico, and Amanda Serrano's a big star in Puerto Rico, and he brought her on, and then he also probably brought Ivan Baranchik on because he trains down in Miami too. So he's putting these cards together himself. There were 5 fights. It wasn't long, and apparently everyone got paid pretty well, including Jake giving away some of his purse. Especially he had one of his sparring partners fought Tommy Fury. All right, that guy was his sparring partner. He paid for his entire training camp. These are things that fighters need right now. If someone wants to, someone's got to pay for training camps. Because these guys can't. So they do. Some of them do work full-time jobs and train at the same time for big fights. There's definitely examples of that, but it's not the ideal situation when you're talking about, an important boxing match. So they need funding. They need money. No one's willing to do it really. And Jake Paul is. So, like him or not, he is what he is as a fighter. And if he got started training earlier in his life, but
we have some news. It's coming to fruition, and we're going to start talking about it, and we're going to have the bunch of guys on the show. But there's going to be a World Bare Knuckle Council for sure.
Yes.
Yes. and a bunch of guys that we know are founding it, and we're gonna have them on the show talking about it. And you know, it's could be just like the WBC, right?
Could be.
Could be. They're gonna have belts. They're gonna have belts. They're gonna give away belts. They're gonna have rankings. And someone's going to have the World Bare Knuckle Council belt, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
Because there are so many leagues of bare knuckle. You know, why not?
Yeah. They're all competing against, against BKFC, though, I think in terms of BYB Extreme or,
Matt, I just saw a show for bare knuckle in Europe. It's called Ragnarok. You'd be amazed. It literally, like, there was like 10,000 people at a stadium.
Yeah, what's his name came from that promotion. There's some guys that fight in the United States that came from that.
Yeah, I mean it's exciting. Yeah. I watched a bunch of fights, and there's others. There's others that haven't been as mainstreamed in the United States as, of course, the ones that we know. But yeah, I mean, why not? Why not have a council like that? They have the Hall of Fame, the Bare Knuckle Hall of Fame. Scott Burt runs, and this is going to be another belt to achieve, which is pretty cool. So we're going to talk later. Tune in tonight, 8:00. The Fighting News. Great day today, Matt. Thanks for setting that up. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I do cool things every once in a while,
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so we're gonna be back on later, maybe Mike or Gerardo. But I got my landscaper out here, so I got to.
All right, Fighting News out.
All right, thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in. Thank you.